greenhouse gas pollution, the planet is heating up at a much faster rate than ever before, and our oceans are becoming more acidic. Temperature rises can appear small, but small increases translate into big changes for the world's climate and natural environment. These climate changes can threaten jobs, agriculture production, water supplies, human lives, and the entire ecosystem. Scientists predict that a global temperature rise of close to 2 degrees Celsius could result 25% of the Earth's animals and plants disappearing because they cannot adapt fast enough. Scientists attribute due to the human activities like burning oil, coal, and fossil fuels, clearing of forests are causing temperature rises and ocean acidification. These activities lead to greenhouse gases being released into the atmosphere at such level that they exceed natural concentrations and become pollutant. Even the small rise in temperature can cause change in the world's climate due to the temperature rise. Even in the small temperature rise, can be many kind of activities like storms or droughts that we cannot even predict. But yeah, due to the high temperature rises, there can be more severe storms, bushfires, more hurricane and cyclones in Caribbean, United States and Burma, more extensive droughts in Eastern Africa, Australia, Southern Europe and parts of China and India. Due to the global warming, glaciers are being melted in every part of the world, putting millions of lives at risk from flood, droughts, and shortage of drinking water. Arctic sea ice reached its third lowest recorded level during the melt season of 2010. The lowest level since satellite measurements began in 1979 was in 2007. Summer temperatures in European capitals have increased by up to 2 degrees Celsius over the past 30 years. Not only that, Scotland had the hottest year on the record in 2003, killing hundreds of adult salmon in rivers because the river became too warm for them to extract the oxygen from the water. Other problems are rising sea levels, which are threatening the nations who are on low lying islands in the Pacific and the Indian Oceans. Climate change has emerged as the single greatest threat to Australia's biodiversity. The Great Barrier Reef will also be significantly affected by the climate change. Scientists are predicting that the 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature will rise, will result in 97% of the Great Barrier Reef species will be threatened to extinction due to bleaching. Not only that, due to the climate change and small temperature rise, there can be devastating floods like Pakistan in 2010, which killed more than 2,000 people, and in India in 2013, which killed more than 6,000 people, which was said to be the worst disaster after the 2004 tsunami. Countries like China, Germany, US, and UK are acting to reduce their pollution. Germany has made 21% reduction, and UK has reduced the pollution by 18%. Not only that, China has become the world's largest clean investor in clean energy. Even Australia has proposed some solutions, and one of them is a limit and a price on carbon pollution. Government has now decided to put a legislation on carbon pollution, a reduction target of 80% from 2000 levels by 2050. The money raised from putting a price on the pollution will allow us to drive innovation in clean energy technology, assist household, support Australian farmers' land who want to protect it for the future generations, and assist in the business those who need it. Australia is blessed with an abundance of clean renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, wave, and geothermal energy, which will help Australia to cut its carbon pollution. The Green Gold Rush study indicated that 500,000 new jobs could be created in Australia by 2030 in new industries like solar, wind, water, and recycling. Opportunity range from low skill, entry level position to high skill, higher paid job with potential for advancement in both skill and wages. The third point is no new coal power station. Australia is the highest greenhouse gas polluter on a per capita basis. This is because Australia's electricity is currently produced by coal fired power station, making coal the number one source of pollution in our country. A new ultra supercritical 700 megawatt black coal fired power station would lock in significant pollution over its lifetime of more than 30 years. It would release approximately 4.5 million tons of CO2 into the atmosphere and increase Australia's annual emission by 0.7%, severely undermining our long term objectives to reduce the pollution. If we don't take any steps to stop the climate change or to prevent the climate change, it would be the sixth extinction in the lifetime history of the Earth. Now I'm going to take an interview of a climatologist who is working with NASA. His name is Professor Daniel, and he's going to give a brief interview on how to prevent or halt the climate change. Hello, Professor. What are the ways to prevent or halt the climate changes? Can you tell me in brief?
Sure. So I'm pretty much sure all of you must have heard about the recent happenings around the world concerning climate change. So recently there was like all the leaders of the world met in Paris because of the concern that the global temperatures are rising and the glaciers are melting and stuff. I'm sure you guys have pretty much heard about it. But there's definitely some concern when it comes to that. That's all at macro level, right? That's not something much that you or I can do about it. We can maybe read about it and get to know what's happening in the climate and on the earth, like how it is heating up and stuff. But then there's something which I would like to tell you at a micro level, maybe what you or I as a person, as a single person can do about it, which when combined together, it definitely makes an impact all over the, I mean, makes a macro impact. So one thing which you can take care is like if you can make your commute greener. Say if it's like a 1K walk, I would recommend if you guys can like I mean walk down the street rather than taking a bus or a car and uh, and preventing the atmosphere from getting polluted, or maybe take a public transport when you go somewhere rather than just taking out your car. So I know it sounds a bit difficult at times, but then that's definitely when a lot of people combine their ideas and start doing it at a macro level, it creates an impact. Secondly, one most important thing is do try to switch off your computers on time, because computers, dryers, air conditioners, these kind of electronics, they emit a lot of greenhouse gases. And when you make sure that they are switched off at right time when you're not using them, trust me, you are doing a lot to the environment that time. So things like this, and maybe yeah, things like this when done by like a large bunch of people, especially people like us living in urban areas, they tend to create a larger impact as a whole, which we fail to realize when we fail to realize because we can't see a direct impact on it. But when you see everyone doing it, it definitely creates an impact. So I would recommend everyone, I would in fact insist everyone on taking these small steps and maybe help the environment in their own way. Secondly, every time we hear about climate change and the earth heating up and stuff, we always take it in a negative sense, thinking that things are going wrong and we are polluting the environment. But if you think of it on a different perspective, there's a lot of opportunity coming out of it. So companies and countries, if they invest in the right technology, in the right innovative technologies which would help prevent such pollution, I think it would go a like long way in creating less pollution over time. So that's some of the countries which are really aggressive about it, say China, India. No doubt they are polluted right now, but they are taking aggressive steps about the same. So they are investing a lot in terms of green technologies, and I think if the concept of like putting down higher tax on pollution, which some of the countries like Canada or China is already doing it, and maybe I would yeah, maybe a country like Australia which doesn't really do it right now, but if they can do something about it, then definitely that creates an incentive to reduce down the pollution, especially to the polluting industries, and invest more money in innovative technologies that would maybe that would help in reducing down the pollution and definitely help the climate change over time. So yeah, that was basically the brief idea about how you yourself or me as a person myself can do to the environment. and don't just always take it in like a negative sense, the climate change and earth heating up and stuff. See the opportunity coming out of it and work on it, and maybe over time we can all together tackle the environmental pollution problem and climate change. So is that it? Would you have any questions?
No, thank you very much, Professor. That was a lot. Thank you very much.
Cool, thanks.